an amateur filmmaker, browsed the cluttered stalls of a local flea market, where old knickknacks and forgotten relics were piled high. His eyes scanned the tables, an unmarked VHS tape. The tape was dusty and worn, with no label or markings to hint at its contents. Intrigued by the mystery, Ryan picked it up. He took it home, thinking it might provide some strange or entertaining material for the evening. Later that night. At home, Ryan slid the VHS into the player, listening as the machine hummed and whirred to life. The TV screen flickered before settling into a thick static. After a few seconds, the static cleared, revealing distorted, shaky images. The first thing to appear was an old, dilapidated house. Its windows were broken and its structure sagging as if under the weight of years of neglect. Strange, faint whispers echoed from the TV, too quiet to make out fully, but their eerie tone sent a chill down his spine. The room felt colder, and unease settled over him like a heavy blanket. A low, guttural growl began to build from the speaker, growing more intense, until it suddenly cut out, leaving the room in absolute silence. A tight knot of anxiety formed in Ryan's chest. He quickly reached for the remote, intending to stop the tape. But the TV remained unresponsive. No matter how many times he clicked the buttons, nothing happened. The static on the screen continued to flicker, and the whispers started again, this time louder, almost commanding. Suddenly, the TV crackled loudly, and when Ryan turned back to it, his stomach dropped. The screen was now showing his living room, his exact living room, just as it appeared behind him. But there was something wrong. In the reflection of the TV, a dark, shadowy figure stood directly behind him. Fear gripped him as his eyes widened. He spun around to see if it was there, but before he could make sense of it, a loud crash shattered the tense silence. And everything happened at once. The TV flickered wildly, and before he could react, an invisible force yanked him toward the screen. The world spun around him as he was pulled into the darkness, the last thing he saw being the static-filled screen of his television. Ryan woke up with a start, his heart racing, but something was different. He wasn't in his apartment anymore. The familiar surroundings of his home had twisted into a decaying, distorted version of themselves. Disoriented, Ryan scrambled to his feet, trying to get his bearings. He rushed to the door and tried to open it, but it wouldn't budge. Pulling and pushing with all his strength, but they too were sealed shut, as if the very fabric of this world was designed to trap him. Panic began to set in as he realized he was trapped. No matter where he turned or how hard he tried, there was no escape. As he stood there, helpless, a soft, distant echo of footsteps reached his ears. They were faint at first, but growing louder, approaching from the darkness. Fear spiked through him, and he instinctively moved to the far corner of the room, trying to make himself as small as possible, hoping whatever was coming would pass him by. From the shadows emerged a woman. Her presence was unsettling, but also strangely reassuring. Her name was Megan. Without needing to speak much, Megan made it clear they were trapped inside the cursed tape, prisoners in this alternate reality. And they were not alone. Something hunted them here. A shadowy entity that stalked the halls of this twisted world, seeking out anyone unfortunate enough to be trapped within the tape. If it found them, they wouldn't survive. Ryan's mind reeled, trying to grasp what she was saying, but there wasn't time for questions. A deep, rumbling sound echoed through the walls, growing louder with each passing second. Megan grabbed Ryan's arm, pulling him into action. They sprinted down the warped, distorted hallway, the walls twisting and closing in as they ran. The sound of the entity's approach filled the air. A sharp, metallic screech that sent waves of terror through them. They fled, narrowly escaping the looming presence of the entity, but the danger was far from over. As they moved deeper into the distorted world, Ryan's fear grew. He didn't fully understand the rules of this place, but he knew one thing for certain. The entity wouldn't stop until it claimed them. If they couldn't find a way out, they would be trapped here forever, hunted, cornered, and ultimately consumed.